Hello, everyone. We are going to be covering a Bughouse World Championship match. Um, and the match is philgreek and radon versus NGVA. Let's see, NGVASSO and Jock Kakajok here on chess.com. Um, the latter is a team of two Russian players, and they have been warming up the past few minutes. Radon just messaged me saying that he has sent a match request and the match is about to start. This is a match in the under 2000 section, so the time control will be 3 minutes, and the winner will be the first team to get to 8 wins with a win by 2 condition. Radon's team outrates the Russian team by a few hundred points, so they are the clear favorites. Earlier today, we saw a match where the team that was outrated by hundreds of points managed to make it very competitive, though. The underdog team won the underdog team, which was Bughouse Coach and Jarmax, won the first 4 games of the match, and the higher rated team of Clock King Switcher and Return the Lagger managed to come back to victory, but it was a hard fight there. So the match has started. This is game 1 of the match. Radon hasn't moved yet. Radon's white. I should mention that Radon is a streamer. Let me check to see if he's streaming right now. I don't believe he's streaming this particular match. But Radon, oh, he's changed his username actually. I hope I get this shout out correctly. I believe he's Radon4PC nowadays. Yeah, that's correct. And Radon streams mostly 4-player chess. He's very good at 4-player chess and Fog of War. He achieved a 3000 rating at 4-player free-for-all, and was at the near the top of the leaderboard, maybe the top of the leaderboard at Fog of War at one point, though he hasn't played as much Fog of War recently. So we see this match getting started, and they're both playing solid openings. There is a hole here where if NGVASSO got a pawn, he could put a pawn on e4, potentially win a piece, but we don't see any pawns trading immediately. Looks like Radon is trading pieces. This is a good place to get the rook active, and we see the rook activity. This pawn here would still be good. Oh, now the a7 is hanging. Might want to push it or defend it. The other option is to create a bishop battery with bishop at h5. We could see bishop at c5 to threaten the knight and also threaten pawn at. So there's a lot of possibilities there. On the philgreek board, the queen is bearing down at the king somewhat, but I don't think it's a good sack at the present moment. We might see, yeah, knight at f4 is reasonable. So now threatening queen takes, also threatening knight takes h3. In order to defend both, probably wouldn't put a pawn on g4. I'm gonna see if I can jump into a Discord call and maybe someone will join me. We are looking for co-commentators. I'm gonna hop out real quickly to just let people know I'm streaming. Okay, so while I was looking away, philgreek has a pretty nice attack here, threatening queen at h2, also threatening to win a rook. And Radon is staying alive for now. A good idea would be for him to drop like a pawn at b7 and try to promote it. Okay, philgreek got the win. Our score is now 1-0. So good coordination from the radon team. There's a lot of discussion going on right now in the House Discord server about maybe a better way to run this tournament in future years, because there are a lot of players who just have not been scheduling their matches or haven't been showing up to scheduled matches. Okay, so a pawn would be good here to win a piece. Even if the pawn drops here, you do have a bishop check, but you could always like push a pawn or put a new pawn in. But yeah, not worth waiting for because the Russian team is down a little bit of time, so continuing to move. But it is a hole that Radon should watch out for in the future, not to put two pieces here that can be forked by a pawn. The Jack Kakajack has created a hole on G2, which could possibly be exploited. Yeah, the bishop's a good piece for that to win a piece. Knight check was another option, but I like what philgreek is doing here. So Jack Kakajack has more development than philgreek has, but philgreek has been winning pieces. So here you could play knight takes pawn, and then if pawn takes, you have knight takes, fork the queen, the king, and the rook. So I like knight takes pawn. Okay, this is another option. You can now retreat the bishop and save the bishop. Knight check, also reasonable. Bishop takes, I assume, because if king moves away, then you just take the queen. Yeah, grab that rook. I'm not sure what the function of this move is. I would drop a knight, try to tempo the queen. Well, that just hangs a bishop. But the knight is under attack, so not the end of the world. I guess it could result in a trade. One thing to do, you could just pick up a pawn from that. Pick up a pawn, then take the bishop. This again loses a piece. Rook takes there. Does philgreek want a rook? Maybe he does. So the Russian team has built up quite a reserve of extra pieces. Because I think philgreek has been putting each piece he gets on the board to try to force some trades for radon, and I suppose some pieces have been lost in the process. So queen takes pawn is a move, as it would hit both the knight and the rook. If these rook trades, it's not the end of the world. Knight takes, he's fine. Oh, and he found it. Decent chess move. Knight check is good. Knight check followed by maybe queen sack. Drop some pawns in here. This is reasonable. Hit in the queen, and there's possible mate threats with knight check, and then sneaking a rook in there. This is a weird move. Oh, I guess he's protecting the pawn. Maybe that's the function of it. So you can take this, then drop a knight on g8. And he should be perfectly fine. It looks like Jack Kakachak is probably losing a queen for a piece, but he ought to do that quickly rather than slowly. A queen is not worth as much in Bughouse as in chess. Just keep moving. Uh-oh, this is awfully hard to defend. Suppose you could put a bishop here, which you're gonna lose. If bishop here, you could just put a new rook in on e8 and just keep the threat. But the idea is to try to disconnect the queens. So if queen takes, you can take back. Like if a new knight could be had, that would help defend. Yeah, it's looking pretty good for Radon here. This is the same sort of threat. Bishop at e7 is a possibility. Oh, he's looking for some luft. I don't think that's going to work out. Oh, but new bishop can now defend. enormous pressure that radon is put in here. I think this is going to win in the end. Jack Hakatok did have a bit of an attack here. Could have put a new knight in check. Okay, that's a timeout, but it also would have been a mate. So our score right now is 2-0, favoring Radon and philgreek. Getting the king's bishop out immediately. I like that. The sack I don't like so much. If you don't have more stuff coming from your partner, then it's just a lost piece. And here I think Radon is perfectly fine. He's castled manually, but he is safe enough. Now he should try to develop some of these pieces. There's a bunch of possibilities. Could attack the bishop here. philgreek should try to get his king's bishop developed, either here or here. I would not take this because it helps develop the queen at the present moment. So yeah, continuing to develop looks good for philgreek. You could castle if you get your knight out, if you get your bishop out. You could play bishop here to try to tempo the queen. That's a reasonable move. If queen goes here, you can defend. And now this bishop is being hit. You could move it to attack the queen, defended by the knight. The time is fairly close. So Radon behind maybe 2 seconds. Pawn at e7 is a threat, which we'll probably see. NGVASSO has a pawn in hand, and that's a natural place for the pawn. So he has protected the bishop. This queen is looking trapped. Where's the queen going? Oh, I suppose you could take the pawn, defended by the knight, result in a queen trade. I could push this, but then knight takes. Now a pawn would just... Oh, that doesn't work. That's a free bishop. Radon down about 6 seconds. Oh, I don't like pushing this pawn. That creates a dark squared weakness. You might see some trades here. Another thing you can do is drop something here to disconnect the queen. Even the bishop. If you drop the bishop here, if rook takes, then you have bishop takes, knight takes, and that's going to lead to a mate. So really you have to take with queen, and then knight takes, and you pick up. Okay, then he found the move. So bishop takes, knight takes, and then a pawn mates. He doesn't have to take with knight. He'll probably see the problems that he has here. But it's a really tough position. You're also threatening knight takes rook. Radon may be stalling, hoping that philgreek is going to win. I don't think he has enough ammunition to win, though. This is just a tough position for him. Okay, so it defends temporarily, but now a rook mates. He also could just maybe just drop a bishop, new bishop at g7 is a possibility, or he could just trade a bunch. This was a free piece. I guess several different ways. So this could be taken because the rook is defended, but not immediately, since the rook mates. That can be taken for free. I don't think there's a knight mate. I guess a knight is pretty good. New knight in, knight takes, knight takes. So why not take this knight? Oh, he's going for the rook. But the rook doesn't mate anymore. Not only that, but radon is attacking. I'm looking at bishop check, but maybe that doesn't lead anywhere. Oh, he's playing it anyway. It's like a logical move. Actually, taking the rook, promoting to knight, dropping a queen in is probably mate. So I think that's the way forward. But radon could also just wait and win on time. Our score is now 3-0, favoring philgreek and radon. But that was a fairly close game. Radon was almost mated there. Radon was up on time. Yes, Jonas Wrath. Good to see. It's good to have you here. HSDFIS. So NGVASSO has sacked again, which leaves radon up a piece. Because the sack really doesn't work unless you get a lot of early feed, which is very unlikely. I don't really like this bishop move, kind of a waste of a bishop. He's probably going to have to retreat the bishop at some point. If he plays something like this, the bishop would be lost. But then again, I don't like this bishop move either, because with bishop here, it prevents e6, prevents this bishop from, the king's bishop from developing. That's a free bishop. Knight takes bishop, queen takes queen, pawn takes. That's not a way to have a free bishop, because bishops move backwards. Radon is getting put in a lot of pressure here because he castled, and it can be difficult to defend a castled king when you're a beginner. So I would just take this bishop and then put a new bishop in to continue a battery. I mean, that's a logical way to continue at least. philgreek has a fairly safe king. As just Jack Cockajack has a fairly safe king. This pawn is being attacked, so might win a pawn, and that's a scary pawn because it's near the king. A knight is quite good for radon. So his partner's going to take the knight, I assume. Radon will win a queen and be quite happy about that. Okay, now a knight mates with a smothered mate. Queen check, rook takes, forced, and then new knight in is going to mate. So I don't know if radon notices the smothered mate. Okay, his partner has dropped a queen on the board. Maybe we're going to see queen takes knight. Although radon is down a bunch of time. If his partner... Oh, also this is a big threat. Okay, so NGVASSO should have stalled there. If he had stalled, his partner may have been able to win the game because he was up a lot of pieces. And also had an attack. So coordination, very important in the game of Bughouse. So Jack Cockajack has grabbed the center, and philgreek has made like 3 different bishop moves and then traded it off. So huge development advantage for Jack Cockajack. NGVASSO is staying pretty solid. This is not so good. Yep, radon finds the tactic to win a queen for a piece. Still a centralized bishop. Yeah, knight development, logical move. So here, like a pawn could win the bishop to tempo it, but he doesn't have one right now. This is logical development move. He could also just start pushing this pawn over here, Or you could castle to safety. Oh, he's lining up a bishop battery. That's reasonable. Okay, it's a weakness on c6. If pawn push, you have knight takes. That's also possible. I think knight takes was better. Oh, that's a pin. It's still a pin. So he could just push the pawn. Because this knight can't... Oh, maybe it can move. Okay, I guess radon was smarter than we thought. Oh, but bishops move backwards. That's a thing. And that guards the rook. So the match score is deceptive. I believe our score is 4-0 right now, favoring Radon and philgreek. But the Russian team is getting very good positions a lot of these games. Yeah, that's a good point, Jonas Rath. If he'd played knight d7 instead of knight c6, then the bishop could not have taken it, and queen could have taken. So, much better plan. This is actually mate for Radon. So, nice find by Radon. So, pawn check, queen takes knight, queen takes b8. Or you just drop a rook. Now that he has a rook, just rook at b8 is mate immediately. Can his partner live, though? Take that, promote. That's scary. There's a threat back here. Oh, yeah, he had the knight. Okay. So that's another win for Radon and philgreek. Our score is now 5-0. Remember in the under 2000 section, it is the first to 8 with a win by 2 condition. I'm just checking Discord real quickly to see if I missed anything important. I am hoping to get a co-commentator, but no one has jumped in yet. If anyone wants to co-commentate, let me know. Jump into another Discord server. Pawn check is quite good for philgreek. Radon can take this pawn, and there it is. So a knight mates, but I don't think Radon can get it. Maybe queen check, try to cheese a knight, but otherwise, could just take this. Oh, yeah, so philgreek is spamming. I think I confused the players, but philgreek is spamming knight good, knight good. This knight is moving out. Queen check actually could take the knight. Queen check was a little more precise because this is somewhat transparent going for the knight, whereas if he just checked with the queen, might not realize the knight was in take. Oh, and there it is. Great coordination by philgreek and Radon. Scary Snakes is free in about 10 minutes. This match will probably be over in 10 minutes, but we do have another match coming up that starts in about 5 minutes. So we're going to roll right into that one. Our score right now is 6-0, favoring Radon and philgreek. Interesting. Let's trade in a bunch of pieces. And c2 is weak. NGVASSO did not wait for a knight. They were up time. I think he should have waited for a knight in that situation. He's trying to use his own knight, which is working out reasonably well. So he could either wait for a new knight, or he could just take the pawn. Taking the pawn seems reasonable. Check again. Maybe bishop here. to threaten pawn at e2. He's just going to castle. And this may be a way to try to like cheese a piece. Now we could see bishop check, if interpose, take, drop a knight in. That's a possibility. I like bishop check in general because it defends and attacks. Conversely, bishop at h3 would have been a good idea for radon. It also defends and attacks. h3 is a key square. And we see NGVASSO taking advantage of that first. So here he could just sack in theory, but he's down time. We may just want to retreat, and that's what he's doing. So if these trade off, we'll probably see a pawn push later, activate this bishop, and defend the knight. Oh, that's a nice move, attacking the queen. This is a free pawn. I'm a greedy guy. I would just take it. Also hitting the bishop. Which bishop do you take? That's a good question. I probably take the f5 bishop. They're both reasonable. Developing another piece. Looking good. Oh, a knight check would have been good. Won the bishop. There's some holes in Jack's position here. This kind of forces a queen trade. Otherwise, you lose the bishop. Ooh, that is a savage move. Very nice. Eventually, he may just take the rook, assuming the king is safe, and I think it is. I would just grab the rook. Or he might just... I guess if he gets a bishop next, bishop check followed by queen here would mate. This is good too. Again, I would take this rook. Take the rook, and after taking the rook, you're threatening queen d8. The problem now for radon, though, is he has no blockers. So what do you do if you see... Well, actually, I guess bishop guards here. Interesting. Radon is going to keep checking. Radon is up time, so a reasonable strategy. You just keep checking some more. I don't like the knight on this side. This side was probably a little better because we could have seen him come up and eat this. Okay, this has to be mated. Queen takes pawn as a way to continue the attack. And this probably mates. Bishop takes bishop followed by queen takes rook. This may work as well. Rook over check. Oh, he's just going to push the pawn. Okay. Still available. And the bishop is going to mate. That's another win by Radon and philgreek. Our score is now, I believe, 7-0. This is match point. Going to prepare for our next match here. So the time is fairly even here. Jack, Jack would like to get pawns to go in on the dark squares. I'm not sure if those trades will necessarily happen. NGVASSO would like a pawn to fork this stuff. He did just hang a knight though. Not only did he hang that knight, but probably Radon will try to vacate that square, like knight back, in the hopes of a knight fork. He's done this knight fork many times in the past. Oh, he's not waiting for it. Interesting. I don't think I like this move. That could just be taken. Again, a knight is very good for Radon. I guess the idea is to try to get a rook in here. Okay, he's going for the knight. And also threatening some other things.
Hey, Chuck, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. He got the knight. And take the queen. So this match is almost over, and we're going to be rolling into another match immediately. Philgreek has a great attack here. He just can put a pawn in. Queen sack is necessary, otherwise it's just mate at 1. Radon is
Cool thing
up
about this
time.
is you're gonna get made anyways, but you do get to live for a little bit longer by
Right.
sacking your queen.
Yep. Radon has mate. I'm not sure why he's not playing it. Even without that queen, he had a chess mate. But with the queen, it's even clearer.
Oh, yeah, I see. We'll see if he earns Chuck Moulton's stamp of approval. Oh, he didn't use his existing queen to mate.
Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't his turn anyway, and his opponent had some attacks.
Oh, it was. Oh, okay, I see.
Okay, let me put the final score in here. Final score 8-0 favoring Philgreek and Radon. That was kind of expected given the Radon differential between these guys. Let's go check. Looks like I am not chess.com friends with Radon. Let me add friend. I'm actually talking to the developers about this right at this very second because
So you don't like the feature where they randomly remove your friends?
Yeah, I've been told repeatedly by developers that is user error, and I've repeatedly assured them it is not user error. Okay, I would like to follow Mikey San, who again probably not on my friends list, even though I'm friends with him. So let me try.
Stop having these errors.